Welcome, this is Type V3, and for my 40th video review, I've decided to do things a little bit different and step away from Transformers. Thus, today I'll be taking a look at the Kyoto Revoltech Jehuty, or Jehuty, whichever you prefer, and this is of course the iconic orbital frame from Hideo Kojima's other known video game franchise, Zone of the Enders. I'm gonna get right to it and say that this is one really good looking robot. His metallic blue and orange paint scheme along with those black and white highlights really mesh well with his sleek and modern design. The dog-like head and elongated neck are very intimidating, and they also give Jehuty that sort of anthropomorphic look. Located on his back are two rather large jet boosters, which probably account for most of the propulsion, while the small boosters located at the knee are there simply for added stability and agility through the air. On Jehuty's left arm is the shield, and without any energy surrounding it like in the game, it does look comically small. But that's okay, because it's the right arm that contains all the good stuff. Here we have Jehuty's main weapon, the retractable sword, and at its hilt we also have a gun, although you probably couldn't make it out, but that gray piece down at the bottom is a gun. Oh, and that's not just phallic imagery right there, that's the pilot's cockpit. Seeing how this is a Revoltech figure, Jehuty's got a lot to give when it comes to articulation. The head itself is on a Revoltech joint, so that allows it to go up and down, and even have a swivel all the way around. And the neck itself is on a joint that lets it go forward, so, even more play on the head is there. It's got the ab crunch, and because of the design, he has a lot of mobility and play in this one, so that's really cool. Each shoulder is on a Revoltech joint as well, so that can move up and down all around, and all that good stuff. The bicep swivel is there and active, a Revoltech joint in the elbow, and then each wrist has a even smaller Revoltech joint to give a lot of really cool poses with the hand. The legs themselves are actually really interesting because there's actually only one Revoltech joint per leg, and that's right here at the hip. And while it's there and active and it's actually really working well, that's the only place it exists. Where you would usually expect one here at the knee, Jehuty's actual design allows it to not actually need one there because of the spherical shape of this knee. The whole leg can bend right up there, and it's really cool because the back end is also filled in with this white piece, so when the leg's extended fully, that it covers that up. Also, you'll notice there is a thigh swivel, and this is interesting. Where you would expect a foot, Jehuty's actually designed to never have a foot, and instead always be in the air, and on the ground, he would actually skate around. So you don't have to worry about any posability with that. Unfortunately, that means every time you want to pose him, he has to be on this stand. It's nice that the stand is clear, though, so that it doesn't really get too intrusive on your display case. I guess it's also worth mentioning that his cockpit can be erected. Now, diving into accessories, the first of which is this little piece. And this is very simple, actually. What this does is, when you take off the back plating to the leg, you can attach this right here and effectively create a foot. It's very skinny, and as you can see, you're probably going to figure out it's not very stable, and if you were to pose this on a shelf with just that alone, he'll probably fall over at the slightest hint of any movement. Nevertheless, you can get him to stand in very simple poses, assuming you can get the weight correct. I myself don't like them at all, though, because I don't ever remember Jehuty actually using feet in the game or the anime, so for me, he's fine just on the stand all the time. Apart from the relaxed open palm that Jehuty starts out with, he does come with a pair of fists, and they just basically change them out like this. It's a very simple affair. The only hard thing is sometimes it can be a bit snug, and when you pull out the first fist, it can pull on the Revoltech joint itself. But with both of them included, now you got two fists, and these are great for I'm mad poses, or, I'm charging up and I'm getting ready to fly or something like that. After the fists, Jehuty has one more set of hands, and they're these sort of open palm, straight fingered hands. And this figure does not come with a pointing hand, so these kind of substitute for that. They're also here for takeoff poses or flying poses, or, I don't know, a karate chop pose, but that's what they're there for. The interesting thing is the other side is a bit different, because this one comes with a post on it. It's right there in the middle, and the joint that it comes attached with, the Revoltech joint, actually can't move forward or back with this one. And this is here simply to accommodate one special feature that was seen in the game, and that's basically Jehuty's magnetic pull or grab. And you take anything with I guess, a hole about this size, and this box just comes with the figure. And for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to use the cover, and you can basically just plug it in. And it holds it quite snugly in there, just like that. I can attach the box just so you guys can see, and it holds it up very well, but that's what that's for. Of course, if you want to get creative, you can attach it to other posts from other Revoltech figures, and depending on the weight, Jehuty might be able to pull them up or not. As you can see here, I haven't quite done that, but I think this pose looks kind of cool, as if he's about to pick up his foot and toss Gurren Lagann away. With hands and feet out of the way, let's move on to Jehuty's more interesting accessories, the first of which being this. And you're probably wondering, what is this? Well, I told you that these are jet boosters, but there were no jets or any sort of flames coming out, so that's what this is here to solve. So basically, you just open this up, like that, and plug this in. And there you have what looks like an extended wing piece, and that looks very, very nice. With both pieces attached, you can get some really cool flying poses, or just add a lot more bulk to the overall size of Jehuty, and give him a sort of mean and aggressive, I'm gonna kill you now type of look. Next up is Jehuty's sword, which I mentioned earlier as being retractable. Unfortunately, this one is not. So instead, you kind of have to replace it with this, which is slightly longer. And that's basically just by taking this off and replacing it with the reversed version that aims downwards. And now you have Jehuty with a large sword. Really nothing to it, but apart from the fact that it's a sword that faces downwards and it can now be used. The next thing I'm going to show you is this transparent orange enemy ring. And this is actually a radar guidance system for Jehuty. And the way it works is it sort of just appears around Jehuty and kind of acts as a radar, and the word enemy there will show up wherever there's an enemy. And to attach this is actually quite an interesting feat, because this guy comes with another piece for the stand. And what you do is you plug this in here, and you take this guy off the regular stand, fold this back a bit, and plug this back in here. And then now you can just plug Jehuty back in this stand, and just fiddling around with them a bit, and there you have the energy ring, or the enemy ring, wrapped around Jehuty, so now he knows where to go fly to and fight. It's a very cool accessory. I think my favorite that comes in the box, because this is kind of the thing that really makes or breaks the character of Jehuty. I mean, this is one of those iconic features. Sure, you could say that the sword or these wingtips are cool, but all in all, if he didn't come with a second version of the sword and these didn't come with the extra wing plates, I would have just been happy with this enemy ring. The last two accessories that Jehuty comes with is this piece right here, and it's basically just an extension for the stand itself in case you want to do more daring flight poses, which you'll probably see later on in this video. The other piece is interesting. This here is supposed to resemble, I guess, basically you plug it in one of the holes in this enemy ring, and it's supposed to look like the air being slashed when Jehuty swipes a sword, or when he's flying and he's starting to break the sound barrier and it's starting to show the ripple effect. It's a cool idea, and I'm glad they did it, but unfortunately it doesn't work, and that's mostly due to the fact that this piece here should not be seen, and because it's so pronounced, and I think it's more noticeable than the actual piece right here, it just doesn't work. It would have helped maybe if this were colored a bit more blue, but in my opinion, it was a nice effort, but it doesn't really work out overall. One of the cool features that this figure has is the ability to sort of upgrade to version 2, because when Jehuty gets his first upgrade in the second game, these sort of pieces here come off the waist, and they actually plug in here on the ring themselves, and they kind of point up and outwards just like that. And what you'll get is, in the game when he fights in combat, these things kind of fly around with him and also help in the offensive defense. And you can see there's 3 of them, and they all kind of release themselves, and they kind of surround the ring, and that's a cool little feature. Unfortunately for me, it's kind of half-hearted, because when Jehuty does get the upgrade, all the blue sort of gets a more of a greenish hue to it. So it's cool that it's able to be done, but in the end, I'm always going to keep them attached just because he's not the right color. Overall, Revoltech Jehuty is a great figure. His great paint apps and his overall sleek and slender design lend well to the Revoltech molds. If there's anything I'd have to change about it, it would be that I wish his sword were given more of a metallic look to it, rather than the sort of off-white that it has. That, and maybe a bit more of the secondary weapons, such as his javelin or the vector cannon. If anything else, I'm just extremely happy, because for a long time us Zone of the Enders fans had nothing to look forward to, but now, thanks to Kyoto, we have this marvelous looking guy. Also, from a strict value proposition, you get quite a lot of material for $30. And if that doesn't look like a lot to you, then I don't know what does. Of course, the big question, though, you have to ask yourself is, am I a Zone of the Enders fan at all? And if I'm not, do I like the way this guy looks? Because if that answer is no, then chances are you can't pick this guy up. Because I would say at $45 or less, go pick him up. But since his release, prices for this guy have skyrocketed to $50, $60, $70, even $80. And I love it, but he's not worth anything over $50. Having said that, I do hope Kyoto does return to the Zone of the Enders line, and that we see maybe future releases of Jehuty in either the damaged, naked, or just a regular second version form, with some added accessories, or maybe some different paint apps, and that'd be something I'd like to see. However, in the near future, it has been noted that we will be seeing Jehuty's counterpart, Anubis, and boy, I can't wait for that one. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.